Quilts, tapestries or needlepoint. Textiles have got to say something that can't be said in paint. It's hard to put a value on art, and yet in many ways some of those pieces, they've just become associated with Malcolm Harrison and they're priceless.
I'm Keris Dalloway Davidson, and I curated this exhibition of estate works of Malcolm Harrison from his Waiheke home, which is now in the collection of Graham and Adrian Harrison, his brother and sister-in-law. The collection is just a wonderful insight into the extent and breadth of Malcolm's practice. We have works which are beautiful polished finished pieces, large-scale quilts which he worked on throughout his career, including his first quilt from 1974, to later works which show off a completely different style. One of Malcolm's very first quilts. The homage to painter Henry Russo draws inspiration from a number of his paintings, including in the middle we've got the football players in the central block, the sleeping gypsy up the top, and then the bottom down there, that little figure, refers to the figure within the work, The Dream. This work was produced over 4 years, so you can see the amount of detail which has gone into it in the time.
He certainly didn't continue to work in this kind of traditional quilt format, although he continued to use the applique and embroidered figures in other quilts.
When you look at it, there are quite a few people, quite a few faces.
I met Malcolm Harrison a long time ago when I was running summer art schools in Wellington, and he came and taught for us, and we've been friends ever since. This exhibition covers a long period of his practice, and there are things I've seen just in the last 12 hours that are new to me.
This work here, all we know is that it's titled Hikaroa Bay, which many of you know is just down the road here in Waiheke. His first home here in Waiheke overlooked Hikaroa Bay.
He was such a pioneer in textile art. He was without doubt the first and still the best male textile artist, and the best that we've seen here in Aotearoa, New Zealand.
The time in the mid-1990s when he was working on New Zealand Parliamentary Commission, and massive work sort of in money and in scale, and the first large-scale textile work of that kind for the New Zealand Parliament building.
Well, the works in Parliament are very specifically representative of New Zealand because each one is tied to a particular reference in the oral history archive or the Ngā Taonga, the Radio New Zealand archive. In the Galleria just over here, the works that hang overhead to way above that stone and metal surface, which they were designed to soften.
It was 1994 that the commission was agreed, and the Queen opened the buildings officially in November 1995, and then we installed the artwork. We identified some spaces where we needed big art, and Malcolm was selected, and we did the large work in the Galleria and a wall hanging for a staircase in Parliament House. The seed panel projects from the wall of the Galleria, and it curves like a wave and finishes just underneath the net. And Malcolm's concept was that was the sea connected to the land by the net, and the land panel, as he called it, is in the shape of an outrigger canoe, reflecting the migration of the Polynesian people to New Zealand.
There was a sort of feeling that we can up the ante and involve even more people around the country in creating this work. I don't think it was expected to have the kind of significance or the impact that it's had, but somehow the stair piece is the one that has resonated with people. Whanaungatanga means relationships, and of course, that whole thing is a web of relationships.
I think he enjoyed this much more than the other one, and I don't know whether that's because it incorporated more needlework or more artistic components from him. He was promoting the other artists to a certain extent, and definitely encouraging them to be creative and be more creative than they had been in the past. You can do it. This is my vision, but they actually helped to achieve it.
For the rest of his work, some of it is very specifically of a place, so work that he did about the Gulf when he was living back on Waiheke after he left Wellington. Some of it was much more of an international nature. They have value within the chronology of Malcolm's life. So come and have a good look and just judge for yourself.
He was a very well-read, well-researched artist who was exploring lots of different fields and different resources and things like that to develop his work. The collection also includes workbooks and sketchbooks and working drawings and unfinished pieces, which gives a really beautiful insight into the workings behind the finished pieces, which has been a treasure to delve into as a researcher and offers a wonderful insight to the public of the workings behind the finished pieces, which is quite rare.
When people stitch, as Malcolm pointed out, they're stitching their own feelings into the work, and it's there. That's part of that exhibition.